Hi, Emily. Thank you so much for coming back on the podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to talk with you about this coffee that you've been talking about all over Instagram.
All over Instagram.
I got me addicted. And I'm
I know.
For mine. And it's
I know. I'm so sorry. I so badly wanted to be on this podcast and you'd already have yours so we could do a podcast cheers.
Oh, cheers.
I know, on Instagram for a boomerang. I'm so sad.
Well, let everyone know who you are and what you do before we get started.
Absolutely. So my name's Emily Morrow. I currently live in Flower Mound, Highland Village area of Texas. I am a nutritional therapy practitioner. I got certified back in November of 2018, so pretty new. And I do all the things. When people ask me what I do, I swear I have 8 or 9 jobs, but keeps me busy. I enjoy it. I mean, nutrition is the foundation, but everything from web design on the side to skincare consulting and, everything in between. So I enjoy it. I love being busy. I love helping people. And it's allowed me to connect with amazing people like you.
So. Yes, ditto. I mean, I feel the same way. I'm obviously see nutrition clients, but I do make my own supplements, but then I also do this. I'm a mom and the list goes on.
Exactly. Yes.
So I know that one of your ventures is this company, Oregano. And so as we dive into it, you kind of turned me on because you said it was coffee, which with me not being able to do, I don't want to say caffeine because before we started recording, I said I can usually do pre-workouts and matcha and even caffeinated tea is just fine. But something about coffee really gets me. But you turned me on because I know there's reishi mushroom in it. And so tell us a little bit about this coffee, what brought you to it, why you just decided to try it.
Yeah, for sure. So it's funny because you're doing exactly what I did. I, for the longest time, called this company Oregano.
Is it wrong?
I did it for the longest time.
Organo,
but then even sometimes I was calling it Organo. I'm like origami. I think origami, organo. So I believe it's pronounced Organo. I think Organo.
What did I say? Oregano,
oregano. Yes, and
don't
I did
worry,
that too for so long.
I called Wait, hold on. I called cayenne pepper, Kanye pepper for the longest time. Until someone finally had the courage to correct me, and I'm just notorious for pronouncing things wrong. So.
Oh, me too. No worries at all. No worries at all. Organo. So how I found out about it, I have been seeing, and I think I mentioned this last time I was on the podcast with you, a phenomenal functional medicine doctor that is based in Flower Mound, Texas, Dr. Todd. It's a really long last name. I call him Dr. Todd Ozzie. Everyone that follows me on Instagram knows Dr. Ozzie. He's phenomenal. His practice is completely faith and spiritually led, and you can tell just from the second you walk into his office that his main goal in his practice is to genuinely help people. He's not in it to be schemy. He's not in it to make extra money. You can tell and feel in his practice that he's here to help. So back in, I want to say April or May, I went and I had a lot of liver tests done. I was having just a lot of health issues that weren't getting any better. And I just finished the autoimmune paleo protocol, made me feel a little bit better, but my liver enzymes on my blood work were just through the roof. And so at one of my visits with Dr. Ozzie, he suggested that I start implementing spores, Ganoderma spores. And at this time, I knew no idea about what they were. I didn't even know at the time that it was part of a reishi mushroom. He just said, I am using this in my practice to help treat my cancer patients, my HPV patients. These spores, it's the biggest superfood that we know, and there's 3,000 plus PubMed studies on everything it can do. So I'm like, okay. I mean, he could tell me to take a supplement that I would have no idea what it was and I would do it. So I took them and my liver enzymes dropped down finally from in the 100s to 27 and 28, just from adding these Ganoderma spores. And then I started asking him more questions and he's like, well, they also have the spore powder in coffee. And I'm like, well, coffee and me don't jive well. It gives me just anxiety and I'm up all night. I have insomnia. And he's like, well, just give it a try. And if you don't like it, you can bring it back to me. So I drank the coffee for 30 days straight every morning. And at the time I used the black coffee and I felt amazing. My back pain started going away. I started having more energy. just my mood throughout the day was better. And I'm like, there's definitely something to this. And you drank the black coffee, right? That's the one you tried?
King. I tried King.
King. And I love both. King's probably my favorite, but I've tried Four Sigmatic. I've tried these other reishi-based coffees, and none of them made me feel this way, and none of them had that true coffee taste. Would you say the same thing?
Yes, definitely true coffee taste. And I felt the same way. So I only did it for 4 days because you gave me 2 satchels.
Yes.
And so I was splitting them up because in your recipe, it made 2 cups, and I usually have 1 cup. So I use like half of one for 4 days. And I was going through, I mean, I go through waves, and I think it's business. I think it's life. I think it's kids, but some days, like I go months, I'm like, I feel like great. And then I get really hardcore months where I just feel really stressed out. And that's the season of life. And so I was in one of those stages. And so I was drinking that for 4 days straight, and like, I could just tell a difference. And that's really the only thing that I feel like I introduced that was different, that it literally went very drastic from like, I mean, I don't know, when my body is like stressed out, I'm very weird. I get the weirdest symptoms. Before we moved to Texas, I literally had a rash like on my upper lip, like just random stuff. And I actually just, I don't know, after drinking it, I knew it was that. Like, I mean, I take ashwagandha, I take all these other things, but for some reason I just knew it was that. So I was like hooked.
Yes, I know. I'm hooked on the taste. I'm hooked on the benefits. And when I kind of dove even more into it, and we'll touch on a little bit like what the spores really are, but he is even using it in children, with autism. And in my IGTV with him, if people want to go and watch that, he talked about one of his patients that's a 9-year-old who had severe eczema and just chapped and bleeding hands, didn't even want to show him. And he put her on the Ganoderma spores, and it's about 90% healed just from introducing the Ganoderma spores. It's just, the studies alone are phenomenal. And with Dr. Ozzy, he said, share. Like everybody should have this in their medicine cabinet because it promotes healing. It can prevent cancer. It promotes healing. So I love it. And I love that it's helping so many people. It's helping people with diabetes, which blew me away. I've dove into even more research on PCOS because it actually blocks one of the reductase enzymes that can cause negative effects with PCOS. It supports adrenals, thyroid. I mean, it's phenomenal. And it comes in beverages where people are getting this therapeutic dose of Ganoderma without even really thinking about it because it's just there.
Yeah, definitely. So can you tell us a little bit of the difference of, okay, so there's the reishi mushroom and then the spores. So I'd love to hear health benefits of both. And then where the spores, I know you kind of mentioned they were a little bit more superior than the mushroom itself.
So Ganoderma is just really another name for reishi. In other countries, they term it as Ganoderma. That's just the proper name. But here in North America, they call it reishi mushroom. That's kind of what we know it as. So they're one and the same. They're the same thing. When we're talking about a Ganoderma mushroom, there's different parts of it. So the Ganoderma is actually going to be the seed. It's kind of how the mushroom replicates. So it's going to be the most potent part. So kind of what Dr. Bob has relayed to me when I asked him, okay, so what's the benefits of each? What do they do? Why is one superior to the other? And basically he said, well, the spores are how the mushroom replicates. The lucidum is the flowering part of the mushroom. So it's good for all the same things as the spores. It's just not as potent. And they even have on the website that the Ganoderma lucidum is 17 times less potent than the spores. So they do the same thing, but the spores are 17 times more potent. And if you look at a lot of reishi-based products on the market, well, one, it was probably artificially harvested, but it's 17 times less potent because it's the lucidum form. So then you have the mycelium, which is the root system of the mushroom. And that's basically, it's genetic for brain chemistry. So it does help take some people's inflammation away. The mycelium does seem to help some people in that regard. But Dr. Bob said in his practice and in everyone they've introduced this product to over the past 7 years, the spores is always the go-to.
Interesting. And so the spores is what, see, like, is that the part that, like, I don't know, is it like pollination, I guess? Is that what kind of spreads and makes more like the mushroom?
They basically said that the Ganoderma spores has this really hard outer shell, like a very hard outer shell that has to be cracked. And it actually takes 5 to 7 months of 2,000 pounds of spores to make 2 pounds of spore powder. So like it has this
kind of like
outer
essential oils.
Yes. So it has this outer shell, and it has a 99.9% shell crack ratio. So that's just this company Organo. Like that's there. So it's 99.9% bio extraction, like Nutra availability. And they, like the spores are honestly like prized in other countries. Like people would try to get them and like could get their like heads chopped off if they had them. And like, yeah, like they're like worshipped in other countries. And so, yeah, these spores are protected by this hard outer shell. And so they actually have to go about like actually crushing and cracking the shell very carefully and condensing it into this really fine powder. And that's what they put in the spore powder capsules. And that's what they put into the King coffee. The rest of the beverages contain the lucidum powder. So,
okay.
Yeah. And it's the only one that, like, so once you crack the outer shell and you get that spore powder, it's the only one that's a 100% organic Ganoderma mushroom spore powder. And they have a patent on that. So whoever created this is brilliant. Because
is there any other spore powders on the market?
I looked, yes, there's tons of reishi out there, but again, as he said, like because the demand is so high, reishi is about to explode. It's like a 2019 and 2020 trend. When the demand is high, competitors come in and try to produce it, but they're doing it in these most of them, I can't speak for all companies, but most of them are doing it in that artificial harvesting bag. And it's not the actual spore powder. It's the lucidum powder. And they cannot harvest it in the same way Organo does because they have the patent. The only one I found. So
thank you, Jenni, for coming on the Thrival Nutrition podcast. How are you doing today?
Hi, Lahana. I'm doing so good. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So our first episode was episode 7, which is insane.
Crazy.
So I'm going on episode 150 and I do one a week. So
Stop.
That's been a long time.
Years ago. Are we having gray hair now from this?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's from podcasting, but
it's so long ago. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And so much has changed in your life since you last came on. I even think were you done with school or?
I don't think so.
Just got done with school?
Or maybe just got done. I have no idea.
It was so long.
It was so long. I was probably fresh out.
Yes. So I want you to tell us a little bit about how has your transition been? Because you're a mom now and you're running a business and being a wife and all that. So how is it having your first kiddo who's almost a year old?
Almost a year old. I'm dying. It's been such a journey, you guys. So real quick, I went to college, went to grad school, got my doctorate in occupational therapy. Super stressful part of my life was in grad school, getting that degree. Went through a lot of struggles in grad school, anxiety attacks, just super run down, tons of just stress and infections and just all the things when you let your body just out of control. So when I got out of grad school, it really had this come to Jesus moment of I got to start taking care of myself. And that's kind of, I think, when I met you, first of all, and then just really began this health journey. But then we struggled for 2.5 years with infertility. So that was a whole nother journey. So now just coming through all of this trial and tribulations into this beautiful season of motherhood, we got pregnant and we have a beautiful son, Brody, who's going to be a year and I'm dying. And yeah, we run this international, I guess, wellness brand for mamas, all about helping moms create a meaningful motherhood with our services and social media and podcasts and just all the things. So it's just such a beautiful story to now look back and just be a platform for so many moms like you are doing today too, girl.
So it's so funny because I remember when we would be talking and you were struggling with infertility and I'm like, Jenni, one day you're going to look back on this and you're going to laugh because it's such a hard time. Wow. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, like, look what I have now. And it's like all the troubles, all the tears were so worth it.
So worth it. So, and my parents and my in-laws remind me of that all the time. And yeah, like you said, I'm like in that moment, I'm like, yeah, you're right, Lahana. But like now being on the other side, it's like, you are right. Like there was a reason for all of that. And yeah, it was worth it. It was not fun, but it was worth it.
Definitely. So again, tell us a little bit about your transition. How's like timing is like, I don't know, just knowing how mom duty is like, did you struggle with it at first or did you feel like you kind of got this?
No, I had like the the Pinterest perfect idea of mom life, right? Like that's what I had in my mind. Like we were going to be organized. We were going to have naps. Like during nap time, I was going to clean the house and run this business and do all the things. And then like reality slapped me really fast when Brody came and I was like, this is what a mom is. This sucks. So I had to like figure it out real quick. I actually struggled with Brody for about 2 months with really intense postpartum anxiety. I thought I was over with anxiety, but I was obviously not. And so I had to figure out how to deal with panic attacks and anxiety attacks. Like every time he would cry, I would just get super anxious because I had no idea what was going on. So it was just like a very new world. But I think about after 2 to 3 months, I really started to figure out mom life. And now we're in an amazing rhythm of what motherhood is like. But it was definitely very overwhelming at first. I did not let myself slip down the road of anxiety and depression and just kind of throwing in everything. Like I was like, no, we are not doing this. So I just got real serious real fast with getting my life, my motherhood back on track. And now I feel like we're at a place where it's very much not even keel every day, but a place of it just works. It works for us. And so I was in a rut, but now feel very much happy with where we are.
Yeah. So so you're still working, right? Are you just working a little bit or like, so is Brody going in school or like in a daycare?
No, it's such a blessing. My in-laws watch him. I work as an occupational therapist 2 days a week. So Wednesdays and Fridays I actually do aquatic therapy. And then I'm home every day besides that doing blossoming mommy and baby stuffs and podcasts like this. So it's a blessing. He's with his grandparents when I'm at work. So it's such a blessing.
That's awesome. I was very thankful for all the help we received too, because I was working full time, going to school full time. And it was just a crazy chaotic. You will look back in a couple years and be like, whoa, how did I survive? Like, right.
I feel like you're at this like sweet season with your kiddos in preschool. Well, Faith is in preschool, right?
Yeah, she's in preschool, but she starts kindergarten in August.
Stop it.
Yeah,
that's
so I'll have two kiddos like school age,
And that to me seems like such a sweet season. And I'm in a sweet season, but I'm in like the grunt season of like, it is like grind every day. Like you're at the end of the day and you are exhausted. I'm sure like every season of motherhood, but like this season specifically, I'm like, it's a lot, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yes, very tiring. It is nice that like Isaiah will help out with breakfast in the mornings. He'll cook something for him and his sister. Or if by the days, when moms get sick, which is very rare, but it happens, I can be like, buddy, like, can you do some things for me? And he'll help me out. So there definitely is pros and cons to each.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about your 5 strategies to kind of help women not be overwhelmed, especially in this season of motherhood. We would love to hear them. So I'm sure I'll have questions as we go.
Yes. And I love this. So like I said, you guys, this is where when I first started mom life or motherhood, I quickly felt very overwhelmed. And so I created a little like checklist for myself, I guess, for 5 different areas. Like it's not just our nutrition, it's not just our fitness, it's not just our emotional health. It's like all 5 of these things. And so hopefully this will be helpful for you guys if you're feeling overwhelmed with your motherhood, just kind of a self assessment, a self-task, a self-list that you can go through and say, let me work on this area of my life. So my very first tip for us is having productive habits. I think that as moms, we are so overwhelmed and it can be to the point of where we want to just procrastinate and not do things like laundry or cooking or chores, or our calendar is just like out of control. So it's looking at how can we be more productive in our day. So taking care and control of your calendar, waking up earlier so you can kind of get yourself centered and grounded before your kiddos wake up, having a cup of coffee, reading the Bible, like whatever you do to get yourself centered in the morning, and then not procrastinating. So knowing that when you see a small task like picking up Legos off the floor or doing one load of laundry or whatever it is, having that productive mindset, it's going to change everything instead of having a procrastination mindset. So girl, that's my very first tip, is having productive habits.
Yes. And I will say too, like now that I'm studying for the GRE for the master's program going into this fall, something that has been helpful is like my sister-in-law and me kind of Bible study too. We said every morning we're going to wake up earlier. So now I wake up at 5:30 in the morning and I do a 15-minute Bible study, and we actually use the Bible app, and it's where you can actually connect and do Bible plans together with someone.
What app is this?
The Bible app. It's it's by YouVersion, the most popular one.
Yes, so I have that one.
Yeah, a lot of people do. So if you choose a plan together, you can invite someone to do it with you.
That's awesome.
And you go through the plan and then the verse, but it also has a third section of where you can talk about it. So you're basically writing like, man, Martha's attitude when she was hosting Jesus was blah, or it's just really nice. So I've enjoyed that. And then 2, like you said, being productive. I'm studying so many stupid vocabulary words, which is ridiculous, of words I won't use ever again, but for the test. And so I'm folding my laundry while I'm kind of going through those flashcards.
Yes. Yeah. And just having that productive mindset, I think it's so easy, like we said, girl, to get overwhelmed. But when you can switch that from procrastination to productivity, it changes everything. And like Lahana said, getting up at 5:30, like, yes, all of us want to sleep in, like the fluffy pillows, like that feels so much better than like an annoying alarm clock. But when you can get in the habit of forcing yourself to get up in the morning and having that centered time, get your workout in, whatever it is for you, so important. It changes everything.
I will say too, go to bed earlier if you need to, like no need to like slack on sleep, but that also means like no more late night hanging out with friends or Netflix. Like you need to go to bed if you have to get up earlier.
Oh, I had to stop. I don't even bring my electronics in our bedroom because I was watching Jane the Virgin every night until 1 a.m. because there is no commercial. I love Jane the Virgin. And the last episode, I'm like, how did you leave us on this show? Michael's here. Raphael's here. I'm like freaking out. If anyone's watching Jane the Virgin, I'm sorry if I just get that away for you, but it ends terribly. But yeah, you have to just like leave your electronics out. Netflix is too dangerous with no commercials and like just the rolling of episodes. So get in the habit of going to bed earlier, having that nighttime routine. It's so important.
Yes.
So important. So my second tip is healthy eating. And you know this, like if you followed Lahana, and I know you guys do, that how important that healthy nutrition is. And so I have some just basic tips for you moms for healthy eating. The very first thing is to throw out all processed foods in your house. I know it's super easy. Like if you have Oreos or packaged crackers or chips or whatever, it's like, okay, well, I'll just eat this because I bought it. And then once it's gone, like I'll go get new food. Like I want you to throw all of that junk out because if it's in your house, you're going to eat it, and add more fruits and vegetables and lean proteins and water into your diet. It is so important. I know one thing that we do too, Lahana, is we do one smoothie a day. And I know, do you do smoothies?
I basically do them once a day because I do it after my workout.
Perfect. And they are such an easy way for you mamas to get into the routine of having more fruits and vegetables and like a post-workout snack. It's amazing. Another thing is to start reading those labels. It's super important. Like we've talked about on previous shows, how important labels are. So looking at things like, is your food organic, or do they have non-GMOs? Just being very cognizant or aware of what you're putting in your body is so important, because a lot of quote unquote health foods can just be like glorified candy bars. And it's just crazy to me, like the marketing. So knowing what you're putting in your body, in your kid's body, is so important.
Yes, for sure.
So that is my second tip. My third tip is all about working out. And so this is a huge one because moms, like if there's anything we lack on, it's time. And so I want to know, this is like totally an interview that you're interviewing me, Lahana, but what does your workout schedule look like?
So I actually give myself 2 rest days, not back to back, usually a rest day during the week, and then on my busiest day if I know, and then one on the weekend, usually a Sunday.
Yeah.
But I am everyone kind of knows I'm a strength training junkie. So I do a little bit of cardio, not very much in between with each workout. But it's usually like, I don't know, to keep it really broad, like 3 leg days and 2 upper body, back, shoulders, things like that. And that's either gym or at home, but I don't know, just make it happen. Whenever, like if my kiddos are sick or I just need to be home because my husband's like leaving somewhere, I'm going to work out at home. There's definitely no excuses.
Yeah. And I think that's so important because for me on the opposite, like I hate strength training. I'm a runner. And so having to find like what works for you is so important. So I think it's just a good lesson, you guys, to really figure out, like there's so many workout plans. There's so many like, oh my gosh, ads on Instagram now of like, join this 12-week body challenge. And I'm like, but what's really important, moms, is that you don't look at all these different, like the Peloton bike commercials, which by the way, those Peloton commercials, I'm like, I want a Peloton bike so bad. But that you really figure out like what it is that you like. What is that soulmate workout? Are you into kickboxing? Are you into Pilates? Are you into just going for walks like in nature? Like, I don't know, like whatever it is for you, figure out what feels good for you and for your body, and then find out how you can sneak into your schedule 3 to 4 workouts or 3 to 5 workouts in every single week. Just start small, and we can add 20 to 30 minutes or up to 60 minutes a day of working out, taking your kids to the park, doing a home workout or a gym. Like there's no wrong or right answer. Just move your body every single day. When we can get in the habit of taking care of ourselves and knowing that when we honor our body, we move our body, we're going to be a better mom because of that. And that is so important. I think moms, we feel like it's selfish to go for a workout. Like if you're at the gym for 2.5 hours, like, yeah, that's a kind of selfish, but knowing that like you can just, 30 minutes, whatever it is for your schedule, get it in, get it done. And you're going to be stronger. You're going to be fitter. You're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to have that feel good hormone. It's just so important to move your body still when you're a mom.
And I feel like there's so much you can do with your child too. So kind of like you said with like hiking, like go on a hike with your kids.
Yes. Include your kids into fitness.
Yes. When Faith was just born, that's when I started weightlifting. So I actually used her as my like extra weight.
Oh, good.
Because I wasn't, lifting anything heavy yet. And then I was just spending time with her. I remember I was breastfeeding her and I'd do like squats and stuff.
Yeah.
Just incorporating them. And it's so funny because now my kids are older. She's almost 5 next month. And
I'm dying for you.
They actually worked out with us now, especially my 8-year-old. Cool. Yeah. And even last night, he's like, oh my gosh, I got my 2-pack abs. I'm like, look at you, dude.
So cute.
So that's also just ingraining into them of just.
Yes, you're modeling.
Normal, what we do to take care of our body.
Yeah, it's so important, you guys. And it's so important to know that our kids are like little sponges. They're going to see everything. They're going to hear everything that you do, that you say. So making sure that you are teaching them by what you're doing, how to honor that body, including them in your fitness. Like Birdie and I, we go for runs, not now because it's 10 below, but in the springtime and summertime and some of the fall up here in Alaska, we have a jogger, like a jogger stroller. I throw him in. He loves it. And so just making your kids a part of your fitness is so important. And one more tip too on fitness is that if you're like if you have a very busy day, don't be afraid to chunk your workout. Like if you do 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, like it doesn't have to be consecutive if that works for you. So just finding out what fits for you and for your schedule, it's so important.
And you bring up a great point too, because let's say you do have a really overwhelming day, you can like have that as your off day. Like it's okay.
Yes.
I know sometimes I'm such a workout addict. Hands down, I feel like I'm losing my muscles if I don't work out. Like, I don't know, if I miss 3 days in a row. But if that happens, I'm not working out because 1, I'm feeling really stressed. Do not work out if you're stressed. You're literally going to negate almost everything and just go backwards. 2, if you're feeling run down, like you're coming down with something like a cold, give your immune system a rest and don't feel like to work out. So sometimes I feel like if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling really stressed, it might not be a good idea to work out. Just, try to get in the habit of it. But yeah, definitely listen to your body with that.
Yeah. Sure. So important. Listen to that body. Yeah, I love that. Okay, our next tip is home management and homemaking. And I love this because I think that homemaking is such a lost art in today's society. And I have such a passion for teaching moms how to bring that back into their life. And so one of the things that I have seen our community feel very overwhelmed in is that home management aspect. So thinking along the lines of laundry and house cleaning and all the things that like just pile up. So one of the worst things that we can do is let our house get out of control, because there's a point where it can get so dirty and you feel so overwhelmed that it's just like you're living in such a mess. And there's been actual scientific studies that show that when we live in a cluttered environment, when there's clutter around us, it actually can increase our cortisol or our stress levels. And so some basic tips that I have for you moms to really help your home management, that homemaking. Number 1, doing 1 load of laundry every single day. This has been so life-changing and life-giving for my home and for my family. So when you first catch up, like if you're behind on the laundry, the worst thing to do is like to not do any laundry all week and then save it for the weekends. And then you're like dying at 9 loads of laundry. Like we have all been there. Like Lahana, have you been there?
I actually have not. Oh, because I've always been kind of anal about it.
Yes.
But I totally feel that when Doug and we feel like we start snapping at each other, I'll kind of take a step back and be like, okay, what's going on? And then I'll like, the house is dirty. But I will say, when I say my house is dirty, a lot of people are like, shut the front door. It is not even dirty. And I'm like, yes, it is.
But you feel that. Yeah. It's so it causes us, when our environments are cluttered and messy, it causes us to feel overwhelmed. And so so I have been there where I've done like save the laundry all week for the weekend. And then it's like, you're spending all weekend cleaning. So if you can stay up with your house and your home management throughout the week, to doing one load of laundry every single day, washing, drying, folding, and putting away in its entirety every single day, you'll never get behind with your laundry on most days. The second thing is, what this has been so important, is having that rhythm, that routine for our house. So I clean one area of my house each day. So Mondays are the bathrooms, Tuesdays are the floors, Wednesdays are whatever. So picking and dividing your house every single day. So basically you're cleaning your house all throughout the week. So you're not having to spend the whole weekend cleaning, because that is no fun. Also doing the dishes after each meal. So after you have a meal, throwing the dishes in your dishwasher and kind of keeping your dishwasher open throughout the day, not like physically open, but not full of clean dishes. So after each meal, you don't have stacks and stacks of dishes in your sink by the end of the day. And then just doing a quick pickup with your house morning, noon, and night, or whenever you get home from work before you go to bed, having your kids help you. It's just very important that you keep your home tidy and you just do the little things every single day, so you're not, in this big tizzy for the weekend and your home is a pigsty all throughout the week. That's been huge.
Yes. One thing that Doug and I started doing, actually, because we do a little bit of that, like we do the dishes and the laundry and like the basics, I feel like keeping up. And with my kiddos being a little bit older now, they kind of help me. I say, if I see any toys, I'm going to throw them out. So you better put them away. I'm also the mom that threatens. I'm just kidding. Sort of. And so Saturday mornings, we kind of started making our like morning to clean together.
Love that.
And so we kind of team up and we can get the house like spotless clean, mopped, dusted, kitchen deep cleaned, all the bedrooms made, sheets done, all that in like 2 hours with both of them.
Amazing.
So hard. And then we just start off the week with such a clean house, and we just will be, because you work so hard. So we'll kind of like go through like, we work so hard. Let's keep up with it. Like, let's put away, like, don't put that hanger on the table. Let's put it in the closet, little things like that.
Yes. I heard something somewhere and it says, if it takes 60 seconds, do it. Because if it takes 60 seconds to put something away or whatever it is, do it. Because if you don't do that and you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things laying around that could have taken you 1 minute or less to do, like it all adds up. So it's so important. Yeah. Like you said, just keep your home tidy, or as tidy as you can be. Right now, I feel like Brody is like just throwing everything out. I'm like, ugh, but it's just as tidy as you can. And it makes such a huge difference.
So, I mean, if you have kids, definitely start cleaning like toys out. I mean, it's a little bit harder if you're wanting more and you don't throw baby toys out because they're done, because you might have a new baby. Yeah. But what I found is making sure that, like, I know some moms rotate toys, which is helpful. Yes. But minimizing the toys that they have access to can sometimes minimize the chaos.
Yes. Yeah. So important. So important. Okay, guys, my last tip is self-care. And this is huge because as moms, you are the one who is constantly giving to others. So it's so important that if you are taking time to pour into your kids and to pour into your husband and to pour into your community and your church and your school and then just everything, who's going to pour back into you, right? So you keeping your cup full is so important. This is not like spending a lavish 5 hours at a spa, although you totally deserve that. And I would love that, but this is just your self-care on the day-to-day. And so making sure, like we said, that you're eating well, that you're exercising, that you're getting your sleep or as much sleep as you can, that is super important. The second thing that I love to tell all of our moms is that I want you to try scheduling 20 to 30 minutes of you time each day. So this could be reading a book. This could be taking a bath. This could be sewing. This could be whatever. This is not scrolling on social media. This is not filling your white space with Pinterest or Instagram. This is you unplugging and taking 20 to 30 minutes of your day for yourself. That is so important. And then also taking time to get into the Bible and having your prayer time each day is super important to get that just grounded and just very centered in your motherhood and in yourself. And then lastly this is a really fun tip, is to get out in nature every single day. You guys, if you do not know, we live in a small fishing town south of Anchorage, Alaska. So if I am getting outside every day up here in a snowsuit, I feel like a puffy marshmallow, you can get outside too. So it's very important. There is so much clarity and stillness. And I feel like we really get back in touch with just who we are when we are in nature. That's not supposed to be woo-woo. It's just very important. I think that we are so busy all the time that if you can just get outside every single day, even if you live in a big city, just get some fresh air. It is so important for that self-care for you as a mama.
I don't know. You'd be surprised at the studies that are done that show like how much just being in nature reduces stress.
Yes.
I even feel that sometimes when I'm feeling really overwhelmed and stressed, I look back and be like, when's the last time I actually like went outside and spent time outside? I'm like,
yes,
a while. I need to go outside.
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing. It is so important. So yeah, those are my tips, you guys. I know that motherhood is amazing and beautiful, and it can be overwhelming at times, but when you can really look at these 5 areas of your life, just again, real quickly, that having that productive mindset, not procrastination, is so important. Healthy eating, working out, that home management, and then again, taking care of yourself. When we can tap into that, I promise you, you will really feel that refreshment and that kind of that a revived sense of being a mom and being a wife and just being a woman is just so important.
Yeah, definitely. So where can we find you? I know you have tons of great resources and recipes and all that stuff. So share that.
So we are at blossomingmommyandbaby.com, and then all over social. I'm most active on Instagram at blossomingmommyandbaby. So we are over there.
Yeah. And then what do you offer? I know that you offer a membership, which I think is fantastic for like recipes and just extra additional resources.
We do. Yeah, we do. We have a few products and programs that are 2. Our main sellers are the Abundant Motherhood Club. So that is a recipe resource for mamas. It's real food for real moms, just healthy recipes for all of you moms out there. I know it can be very tiresome going through Pinterest for hours and cookbooks. So it's just like all in one place that are recipes that are kiddo approved, hubby approved. They're just amazing, healthy and hearty. And then we have a postpartum program called the Blossom After Baby Postpartum Method. It's incredible. Basically, it takes these 5, well, that was super biased, but I'm like, that's incredible. It's my program. Of course it's incredible, but it's really important. When I was super overwhelmed with Brody, I had to find a way out. And this is basically my strategy. It's a 5-step program, pretty much what we went over today, but in way, way more detail of just really curating a healthy postpartum life and how we can tap into all 5 of these areas. It's not, again, a fitness plan or what we eat, but it's all these 5 principles encompass this holistic approach to motherhood that we really tackle after your postpartum life. So those are all on our website as well. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much for coming back on.
Lana, thank you for having me. We love you so, so much. And if we can support you in any way, let us know.
Sounds good.